In 2001, I was in an interesting place. My family and I had just moved uh, halfway across the country, and which is, can be fairly unsettling. But I was unsettled in other ways too. I started looking at how much I had invested in a whole variety of modalities towards increasing my health. And I started realizing I hadn't had a lot of tangible evidence that it had done that much. And yes, I had no regrets about having done any of it, but I just wished that I had known more concretely that I'd done some good. And I believed I had faith that I'd done good for myself with homeopathy and flower essences and nutritional supplements and various other kinds of energy work and so forth. But it all seemed somewhat abstract to me. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm very strong on faith, but I wanted stronger evidence. So that's the sort of place I was in. And at some point, I had an impulse to go on Amazon and check out Gabriel Cousens' books because I had two or three of his books and I was really impressed with them and I wondered if he had anything new out and sure enough he had a book out co-authored with David Wagner called Tachyon Energy, a new paradigm for holistic healing. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. And I remember that a couple of years earlier, I'd come across something written up on tachyon energy. And even though I'm sort of out there myself, when I was reading it, it just sounded over the top. And I just checked, decided that's a little sounds a little woo woo to me, and more than I was really interested in exploring right then. And so, but when I saw that Gabriel Cousens' name was attached to something about tachyon, then it was like, okay, I want to see what they have to say. And so, I got the book. About a third of the way into it, I got online and placed an order. And one of the things that got me really interested was electromagnetic fields, because this is something I've been looking several years for some product to help with EMFs, and hadn't come across anything that I've resonated with. But sure enough, the Tachyon had, they made a very strong statements about how effective their products were with EMFs. So that was one of the things I ordered. And sure enough, then when the package came, within 5 minutes of it being delivered, I had it open and I had three silica discs being taped on the inside of the breaker box door. And and so then what I did, and I don't even know where this even came from, but I just had an inspiration that, okay, so I would press the door close on the breaker box, and then I would open it back up, and then I press it close and open it. And I've done a lot of energy work, and my identity was in I did not experience energy. I would sort of have a more of a knowing sense of things, but I did not have a, a sense of energy going on. But as soon as I would do that, I could experience the whole energy field of the house shifting. And if you had asked me 5 minutes before, do I experience the energy field of the house? I would, oh no, no, I don't. But I could feel it shifting, and and so then there were a number of groups that were meeting in this house over the next couple of months, and I would just make a project of it. When a group was there, I would say, hey, well, you want to have a little 10-minute experience, and then I would go into the hall, where they couldn't see me, and then I would say, okay, I'm changing it, and they wouldn't be able to see whether the door is opening or not. And then I say, and now I'm changing it again, and so forth, and now I was opening and closing it. And it was so amazing how consistent the way they described their experience and people would say, Oh, and we were talking about when the discs were not in place, when they were opened up and not pointing in towards the electricity into the breakers. And they would talk about it, it feels uh, uh, jagged. The energy feels jagged. It's disharmonious. It's, uh, you know, so forth. And then, but when they were in place, people would say, it feels harmonious, it feels smooth, uh, and 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 like three people and over this course of this time would even say, "Oh, it feels more coherent," which to me was a very rare adjective to use. But the people would come up with it, and I thought, "Oh yeah, they're really naming it. It does have this feeling of coherence." And so, given where I was at, and given this very tangible experience, uh, I've been exploring it ever since. And again, I'm not going to keep going on here, but it was the the next couple of days were had similar things happening with uh, um, my wife at the time's lower back. She was about to go out, and it didn't because I said, "Oh, try this, hold this in place for a while," and she used to get down for like 6 or 7 days at a time before it would straighten out, and it didn't that time. So I'm a believer, and that's the reason I'm in this, uh, is because this is this is true. This is true. This is real and valid, and I've experienced it for myself.